Hey, Spilled Milkers, how's everyone doing? New shirt, same house. We have some great questions this week, and I'm excited that some of them are here. The biggest question that I've gotten last week for this week is about the Great Minnesota Get-Together, the state fair. So we did a whole separate Ask Me Anything just based on the Great Minnesota Get-Together. We dropped that on Sunday, so you can go back into the archive and you can look for it there. It's fantastic. It's all things state fair under one bundle. I will say, this was the worst year that I can remember for new foods in terms of quality. There were a lot in the middle, a lot of goods, a few very goods. There was just no excellent. And I still, on my second day, I went and I had my favorite items. I had my cheese curds, I had my corn, I had my lemonade, I had my footlong, I had my malt, I had the French fries. Malt from the Dairy Building or the Kiwanis Club is great. I had my gizmo, and I had, obviously I'm splitting it with friends, and of course, my favorite new classic, which is the Peachy's Amish Donut up around the corner from Giggles Campfire up near Machinery Hill. So it's a freebie there. The other question came about an article in the Washington Post from Alicia Kennedy, who makes the point that we need to shake up our produce choices for the sake of sustainability. And we're going to put that article, the link for it right below where you're watching this. I cannot stress the importance of you reading that piece enough. She succinctly hits the nail on the head, although there was a part of me that wished she had summed it up a little differently, but brilliant article. And essentially the point is, unless we diversify our choices, our food system is at risk. And that is 100% true. And whether it's agriculture, whether it's aquaculture, whether it's wild foods taken on the water and the land, it does factory farm foods. If we do not mix up our choices, we are putting more and more chips in fewer and fewer baskets. So when that basket breaks, we lose more chips. And we saw it during COVID. It's the reason why people like me are so eager to decentralize our food system. We've centralized it. We've put, 75% of our meat choices are in the hands of 4 companies, roughly the same numbers with, plants we eat, all the stuff in the supermarket, right? And what we have found is that consumers are not psyched about new items that are coming off farms. Kennedy makes a really great point about, a little joke about things like rutabagas and kohlrabi. But it's true. People don't know what to do with them. And farmers are trying to grow a diversified group of crops because that's good for the land. It's good for everyone. And they can't compete growing stuff by hand. I mean, if you priced incredible heirloom tomatoes at your local farm stand, they're way more expensive than tomatoes at your supermarket, right? And what we found is that consumers are stodgy. They all want to eat sustainably. They all want to eat organically. They all want a sustainable food system. They don't want to see a food system that's going to collapse. But at the same time, you out there are not willing to try as many new things and broaden your choices. And Kennedy makes the argument for doing that with some really great, and obviously we need to do it through policy. We need to incent grocers and farmers and the people who connect those two. We need to incent them to bring more new items, but they're just going to languish on the shelves of the market the same way that I read a John Mariani piece that just came out that mentioned my name on it, which is, I got it on Google Alerts, that talks about the same issue with seafood. We are either fishing or importing in between 2,400 and 2,800 species of seafood in America, grand total, but we just eat the same 4, and even seafood restaurants in the main only have 6, 8, 9 different items. It's because they can't bring in something that you haven't eaten before because you won't order it, right? So, and I get it. There's a lot of fear involved. You're plunking down $40 for a plate of food in a restaurant or $20 for a fish in a fish market. And so you're going to default to the salmon or the shrimp or the halibut because you know how to cook it. You know how it's going to turn out. You are not going to go for something, the mullet or the black-throated bass or the sheep's head or something that you haven't experienced, or the porgies or whatever it is that you haven't experienced before. And now farm-raised bronzino has invaded the market, which is great. It's another fish. I happen to think aquaculture is the key to this, or one of the keys. But we got to change our farm bill. We got to change policy. But more importantly, what Kennedy's article does, and I think this is really, really, really the nuts and bolts of many social justice issues, and health issues like vaping, right? How to get kids to stop vaping, or how to get you to eat a more diversified group of vegetables from the farm. The number one determinant, we have to change behavior, right? That's what it comes down to. And the number one way that human behavior is changed is measured by the quality and the trust value of the person delivering the message. So when you hear it from your local news anchor behind a desk, you may have a deep and abiding love for that news anchor, but you still may not see them as a food expert, right? So it's kind of a mixed bag. You don't see a lot of chefs on TV talking about these things, right? I know I do, but it's not like it's a mainstream idea. We need to push and incent messengers of all types to be carrying this message. That includes you. You can be the evangelist in your community and in your neighborhood and in your family. And that's where it's going to start, house by house, community by community, because we only accept the willingness to change if we're convinced by someone who we trust. Susan writes, I travel a lot for work. How do you survive airport dining? Yikes, I don't. Between fast chain options and $12 bags of trail mix, any expert insights for finding something you want to eat while on the road? Well, I will tell you, I do want to eat while I'm on the road, and oftentimes I default to a fake smoothie. I mean, like Jamba Juice and all those things are an insane amount of calories, and it's not necessarily great for you, but it fills me up, and it's healthier for me than fast food. I will say I often look for a slice of pizza because at least I know what it is. I often look for a hot dog. I'll look to see if there's a Nathan's or something where I know I can get a hot dog with sauerkraut and relish, and while it's not ideal, and I don't like paying that kind of money for a hot dog, at least I know what it is, right? Luckily for me, there's some sandwich. I'm not talking about Subway. There's some premium sandwich companies that have come in and have started to switch things around. We're hoping, I mean, on a personal note, Patty and Frank's, my group in my restaurant in Atlanta that my partner Bobby and I run at Chattahoochee Food Works, we're looking to get into airports. So hopefully you'll have an offering from us. I frequently bring my own. It sounds crazy, but I'll pack a sandwich. I make my own trail mix because I'm not going to pay $12 for the really junky one that has M&Ms in it. Chris writes, it seems impossible to find organic or all-natural strawberry extract. Where could I find it? And if not, is it possible to DIY it? Well, of course you can, but you're just gonna, it takes a lot of time and you need a lot of really, really, really fresh strawberries. I did a very simple Google search for you, and there's a company called Olive Nation, O-L-I-V-E Nation. There's a company called Amoretti, A-M-O-R-E-T-T-I. There's one called Extract Consultants. There's I mean, these are all, you're going to pay for it, but they're all nature's flavors. Lots of different companies have organic strawberry extracts that are made just from strawberries. However, if you don't need much and you happen to have a farmer's market near you where you can ask them for all their bruised and battered berries, the ones that people won't buy to eat out of hand, just clip the tops, cook it down with a very simple syrup, sugar, water, and maybe a little lemon juice, just to put a little acidity in there. Cook it down, puree it, strain it, push it through, leave all those seeds behind, and you'll have a strawberry extract that you can use for all kinds of things. It's gonna be more like a puree, but it's gonna be very, very intense. The nice thing about these all-natural strawberry extracts is that they use alcohol and processes to strengthen the flavor. So you might want to go with one of my recommendations. Samuel writes, I've heard you say a few times you don't like the word foodie, hate it. It's diminutizing. What is it about it you don't like? Oh, it's diminutizing. It's not doctory or lawyery or, it's like foodie, veggie, anything that ends, it's vegetables or veg or, it's not foodie. Foodie just sounds Bush League. Just sounds Bush League to me. I'm a foodie. Is there another word or term you prefer, like gourmand? Well, gourmand has an air of sophistication about it that I think is sort of classist. Eating enjoyer is another one Samuel recommends. Not a big fan of that. Sounds clunky. How about just, I'm an eater, with a smile and a wink. It kind of says it all. I think, gastronaut, something that I used once 10 years ago to sort of poke fun at it, again, that's kind of hoity-toity, and it sounds like I'm making fun of something, which I kind of was. And it involves a sense of adventure in there that may not be for everyone. But what about just an eater? I'm an eater. How about I'm a sustainable eater? There's a good one. Greatly appreciate your restaurant recommendations. Do you have some for Copenhagen? I do. Copenhagen is great. And there are some great restaurants. Alchemist is one. Spendy restaurant, Michelin starred. Goldfinch. There's an Asian invasion in Denmark. There's some incredible Pan-Asian food being cooked in Denmark right now. Probably a rebound to the 1950s Denmark. Sometimes it takes a generation or two, where everything was, smoked and cured seafoods, and you get what I'm saying. Goldfinch, great restaurant there. Alouette just got 1 star, superb. Bakeries are great there. There's the Hart Buggery, H-A-R-T-B-A-G-E-R-I, which means bakery in Danish. Hart is absolutely fantastic. Great breads, great pastries. Let's see. 1612, again, a great place to refuel in Jagersborgad. I may have botched that, but it's in the heart of Nørrebro, which is the sort of hipster neighborhood there. Selma, fantastic. Mid-range place. They've got a Bib Gourmand award. The ultimate sort of smørrebrød, that Swedish lunch that everybody loves. Juno is a great bakery. Bar, B-A-R-R, is also run by the same team that runs Noma. They have a killer Wiener Schnitzel. Get on that. H15, which is in the old meatpacking district, is awesome. Nordic-themed dishes at a reasonable price. There, that's enough. I also have a list from a year or two ago that we put out And we'll put a link to that below here as well. Jessica writes, gosh, Andrew, Tim Walz is going to make a fantastic Veep. He does if they win. Tim Walz is an amazing human being, a great friend, a great dad, a great governor, a great husband. I mean, he's just, you know, just a stellar human. So yes, I would, I love Tim and Gwen Walz. Next newsletter, let's hear what you'll make for Kamala. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I would do that for all, I should do that for all the candidates. What a great idea. Joshua writes, I really enjoy both your latest shows. Life of Fire is the barbecue show with, well, you should go watch Life of Fire. Pat Martin stars in it. My production company makes Life of Fire. I'm not in it. And Wild Game Kitchen is the one I make. And then on the 23rd of September, we roll out Field to Fire, which is another outdoor cooking thing that I'm doing. And we do a lot of wild game and seafood and foraged vegetables on Wild Game Kitchen and Field to Fire. But all the recipes, just so you know why you should watch it, every single recipe can be made with store-bought proteins as well. So I don't do any recipes that have to be made with venison or have to be made with moose or some sort of wild fish that isn't available in markets. Okay, chef. Oh, and whether or not the question, will wild game be incorporated in Life of Fire, that's up to Pat. We'll see. I'll pass it on to him. Joe writes, what's the largest amount of people you've had to cook for in one night? Oh, wow. About 5,000, but it wasn't just me. The interesting thing about cooking for large groups is that you just have to extend kitchens and you have to incorporate staffs. So essentially what we did, we had chefs. I've done a course for 5,000 people or an item at food festivals for large groups. That's different. Again, same thing. You just need lots of equipment, lots of prep, and you have to gear it towards things that can be plated quickly and safely, hot food hot, cold food cold, or have multiple kitchens built. And so, I mean, it just really is a matter of expense. But it's thrilling to cook for large volumes of people because it requires an engineering aspect that I don't think about when I cook for 4 people at dinner. Anyway, that wraps it up. Fantastic. Check out all those AMAs. Check out the ones on the State Fair. Check out Alicia Kennedy's piece in the Washington Post. We have a link right below there. And have a great time with the rest of your week.